camera, action, it's on. New black film revolution born. Move it, shakers, big and little filmmakers. Let's make a movie today, see where it take us. Halle Berry, Denzel, and Jamie. Terrence Howard, Mike D, and Spike Lee. Brand new filmmaker born every day. Put a camera in his hand and let him lead the way.
Hey everybody, this is Mike D.
And this is Charles Woods.
And this is episode number 2 of the Reelblack Podcast. We've got a great show for you. This week we're going to talk about 3 new movies that are in release. Barbershop 3, the next cut, as well as Don Cheadle's Miles Ahead, which gets a wider release. And new on Netflix is the latest from Array called Echo Park. We'll also give our reactions to 2 new trailers that were released to YouTube this week. One for Nate Parker's The Birth of a Nation, as well as Almost Christmas, the latest from writer-director David E. Talbert and producer Will Packer. So sit back, relax, enjoy the next hour or so. I guess it's tax day. And did you get your taxes filed?
Yep, I finally did.
Okay.
And whatever money I'm supposed to get back, I know they're going to keep it.
I had to file an extension, but I will. IRS, please don't mess with me this year. I will get it straight. But I guess this weekend is 3 new movie releases that folks should check out. Barbershop 3 is the big one. It opened at number 2 for the weekend with $20.2 million.
Great.
Which is
That's great.
Definitely on course for pretty much what they were expecting. They were saying if it did $30 million, that would be fantastic. But it was up against The Jungle Book, which is the big Disney juggernaut, which opened at $103 million.
How about Jungle Book? Don't we have significant African-American participation in this one, don't we?
Well, you got Lupita Nyong'o is doing one of the voices, as well as Giancarlo Esposito. So, to Disney's credit, they didn't whitewash The Jungle Book the way, they could have, but they actually hired a young Indian boy to play Mowgli or so. So, I guess good for the kids. I didn't get a chance to see that one yet, but I did see Barbershop 3. And I liked it. It's definitely, and you can check out our interview with Ice Cube and Deion Cole elsewhere on the channel. Solid picture. And then also, I guess, we interviewed Malcolm D. Lee for the radio show, Reelblack Radio, with Stephanie Renee and I. And that'll post probably tomorrow if we're talking Monday. So look for that on the channel as well, Reelblack Radio interview with Malcolm D. Lee. But really, excited, proud for those guys. There hasn't been a barbershop movie in over a decade, and I'm not really sure why, because the formula is pretty tight. I mean, you put all these characters into the space and you have them riff on current events, and you put a little B story in there, and it's a lot of fun. But this one's especially poignant because it deals with the Chirac issue, the gun violence in Chicago.
Talking about Malcolm Lee, and I enjoyed the interview you had with him, and I just like his work so much more than Spike. And we can't take away Spike's significance as a black director and someone who has fought hard to have the participation of blacks not only on screen but behind screen. Black has been a pioneering force in that respect. But I just think on a commercial level, Malcolm has been more successful.
Oh, definitely. For those who don't know, Malcolm D. Lee, he's the guy responsible for the Best Man movies, Best Man Holiday, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, Undercover Brother, Roll Bounce, Soul Men. All of his films have been pretty. I would consider them classics.
I'll tell you something I bet you never realized.
What's that?
When a woman gets married, she never marries the best man.
No, shut up. See, I'm sure there's going to be more comedy intertwined into this podcast. I just have to prepare myself for this. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Soul Man wasn't the hugest hit, but I really liked that movie with Bernie Mac and Samuel L. Jackson. And
I love that. I love that.
yeah, we have Malcolm on the TV show. He said in his mind it was a no-brainer to put Bernie Mac and Samuel Jackson together in a movie, but what he didn't anticipate was that from his 40-year-old perspective, it was a great idea, but young people are the people that go to support these films, and it didn't open very well, but it's a great film nonetheless, and Vanessa Del Rio's in there, so he always finds a way to work in some cultural reference in the new Barbershop movie. He's got Auntie V from the YouTube. She's got a profane YouTube cooking show. So
okay.
So he always works out some subversive thing, But I really enjoyed the latest Barbershop. You'll hear my interview with Malcolm, but Nicki Minaj is a discovery, and it's great to see Common and Eve with their scenes. They have a lot of chemistry, and of course Cedric and Ice Cube are holding it down. So
and Mickey, when I see her, I think of what's that? Baby's Got Back.
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't shy away from the booty shots, but it's not as overt as it could have been. So it's tastefully done. There's a little misogyny in the film that I could have done without. Like they throw on the B word quite a bit, in the movie, and I think that was unnecessary. There's a little joke about Obama that has echoes of when the Barbershop movies were talking about Rosa Parks. They don't always seem to have the utmost respect for our black heroes, but I guess that's part and parcel of what happens in a barbershop, I suppose. But
how do you like the idea where someone says, hey, let's fix this, where we not only have the male perspective, but the woman's perspective, and so it's almost a blend of barbershop and beauty shop in this.
Well, that's what they do in the sequel. Yeah. Oh, that's what you liked about the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. I could appreciate it. Yeah, it was sort of. I mean, one of the spinoffs of Barbershop was Beauty Shop with Queen Latifah.
Right.
So this was sort of best of both worlds to have the barbershop and the beauty shop inhabit the same space. But it does seem like they had a little less money to go around on the locations. I mean, some of the compromises, it was filmed in Georgia as opposed to in Chicago this time around, and the B story isn't as elaborate as the ones in the previous Barbershop movies. The first Barbershop, they would cut away from what was happening in the barbershop to have this B story with Anthony Anderson and this ATM machine. And in the Barbershop 2, there was this sort of a sub-story about Cedric running into Garcelle Beauvais at the subway and sort of having fantasies about running into her again and all that kind of stuff, just to open the story up. So
now you say this was shot in Atlanta?
It was shot in Atlanta, yeah, to save money. So,
is that because it was safer?
I think it was just to save money. It's it's just a lot cheaper to make a movie in Atlanta than it is to film in Chicago. But
okay,
but I don't.
We cleared that up.
That was the feeling, but people that live in Chicago were a little upset about that. So Spike Lee, he actually shot his movie in Chicago, Chirac, but this one, to save money, they address the issues. And then I think you'd be excited to see Michael Rainey in this movie as Ice Cube's son. Michael Rainey Jr. is the kid from the movie Love that starred Common.
People need to see that film. I loved it.
It's a really good movie. That's something that we may address as one of our movies you should know. But it's good to see him growing up. He definitely has a distinct personality on screen and his own level of charisma. He's kind of a soft-spoken kid, but you can tell he's bright. And I think he's somebody for young kids to connect with in the story. So And
One quick question, Mike. I love Common. I think he has a lot of charisma. I love the film he did with Queen Latifah.
See, I wasn't a fan of that one, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. You know the basketball film.
Just Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What I loved about it is the romance angle, and the fact that someone who looks like Queen Latifah is made to look appealing and has an attraction. I think too often we're promoting films where the love interest is always this super looking chick. Queen Latifah is attractive in her own way. She's a beautiful woman, and I love that film for that reason. Well, and we don't see enough romance films with blacks.
Yeah, definitely. I like Latifah in it. I just thought Common was a little stiff in terms of his performance, and I never really believed him as a pro basketball player. He just seemed very short and undersized. So I just didn't connect with him. I wasn't believing him as a pro basketball player. But that's not to say that the movie's horrible. I just didn't buy in, so I had problems with it. But in Barbershop 3, I really loved Common's energy. It just seemed like he was comfortable. I mean, it's a few more movies. He's been in a lot more movies since Just Right, and I think he's gotten better over the years.
When he did the TV show, the Western, he was the reason why I tuned in for that.
Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gotten much better over the years, and when he's not necessarily being asked to carry the movie, I'm okay with him.
Oh.
$20 million for Barbershop, the next cut. And look for our interviews with Ice Cube right now on the YouTube channel, and listen for our interview with Malcolm D. Lee later in the week. Also opening wider, it's been out for a couple weeks in New York and LA, but Miles Ahead adds 22 screens. It's now on 47 screens around the country. And it opened here in Philadelphia this weekend. We took a nice sized group in our meetup group to go see that. So,
and what was the reaction?
Everybody loved it. I mean, it was across the board. Just kudos to Don Cheadle. This is a movie that he not only stars and directs, but he wrote it and produced it and does some of the music in the film. So it's a tour de force for Don Cheadle as Miles Davis, and it's in the spirit of jazz. It's not a biopic in a traditional sense like a Ray, but it's sort of taking Miles Davis's character and just improvising this crazy action mystery story around it. He's trying to get hold of his master tapes. These white culprits of he doesn't really know who to trust, but somehow his master tape, his music gets in the hands of the wrong people, and he, along with Ewan McGregor, have to go and track down these guys and get it back. And throughout the course of that story, it cuts back to different times in his life where he has this love story with his wife, who this one becomes his wife, Frances, beautifully played by Emiatsi Corinaldi. So
I love her.
Yeah, and she, listen, if you haven't already listened to our interview with Emiatsi, she's definitely somebody to watch, and she's made some incredible films so far. I mean, she's just getting started, really. But if you don't know Emiatsi, Middle of Nowhere would be the best place to start, and that's on Netflix. That's
a comment on Don Cheadle. I find he is one of our treasures. Not only does he perform brilliantly in the works he does, but he's been very smart as a businessman in show business world.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from the very he was in movies, I guess, like
that one with Denzel where he stole the movie.
Mouse? Well, yeah, he was Mouse in Devil in a Blue Dress, but I'm trying to think of the Colors. He was in Colors and movies like that before, but when he did Mouse in Devil in a Blue Dress, there was no looking back from there.
No looking back.
And he's really had a tremendous career, and now it's great to see him. I mean, he's directed some episodes of TV, but it's great to see him take control he can do a movie like Avengers: Age of Ultron and then go back and do something independent, or Iron Man 3 or whatever, and then do some movies that are independent that are from his heart. Just a great film. It's one. They don't have to give me a copy of Miles Ahead. That's one that I'll buy the week it comes out. That's one I'll go back to. So if it's in your town, I strongly recommend that you go see Miles Ahead in the theater. And then
how's the music on that, Mike?
Well, it's all original. It's endorsed by the Miles Davis estate. They're one of the presenters of the film, and Francis, his ex-wife, and two of his daughters are credited as executive producers. So this movie has the full endorsement of the Miles Davis estate. The music is a mix of compositions and original recordings by Miles Davis mixed with replays or reinterpolations and new music done by Robert Glasper, the Grammy Award-winning guy who's from Philly. So we claim Robert Glasper, and it's just seamless. And the cool thing is that Miles had so many different styles throughout his career that in using his music, it changes the energy of the film. So in the chase scenes, you're seeing him use the sort of electric Miles stuff, and then there's the cool jazz and the Sketches of Spain stuff for the love scene. Just incredibly well rendered and articulated movie. And hopefully people will be paying attention to it come Oscar time. The last movie that is out this week that is of interest to Reelblack listeners would be Echo Park, which is the latest from Array, which is Ava DuVernay's distribution collective. Reelblack is a proud founding partner. It's going to screen here in Philadelphia on May 12th, Thursday, May 12th, at the African American Museum. But it is available now on Netflix, and it's screening in New York at the IFC Center and at Image Nation's Raw Space. And it's also screening in Los Angeles at the Downtown Independent Theater if you want to see it on the big screen. But I really like this movie. We'll have to revisit it. It has a little black and white sex in there.
Oh, another one, huh?
Yeah, basically, Mamie Gummer, who is actually Meryl Streep's daughter, and they co-starred together in Ricky and the Flash. She is a Beverly Hills housewife who leaves her husband and takes up an apartment in Echo Park. And she needs a couch. She goes to buy a couch from a DJ named, played by Tony Akambuwa, who we know from The Ellen Show as the DJ. So it's a big acting stretch, and but he's also the producer of the film along with Mamie. And she goes to get this couch, and they start a relationship. And I don't want to give too much away.
Is he also from the UK?
Yeah, he's from the UK. Yes, and
another. It's getting tougher to pronounce these black actors' names.
Well,
it reminds me of the time. Who's the white comedian who was in Car Wash?
Professor Organ Corey, George Carlin.
Carlin. You remember the one he used to do about the black basketball players after they started taking on the African names? But he does the one where you have he'll do the pre-era of the African names with the black basketball players. And Joe Johnson, he passes to Henry Brown. Henry Brown throws it overhead to George Jackson, scores. Then we have the change. And Bakazuka Saka passes it to Rakasuka Siki,
Okay.
But in his own inimitable way, he just got the point across.
I just say DJ Tony, because I'm not going to mess up the man's name. But it's a nice small independent drama comedy romance.
I'm still trying to pronounce what's the guy in Simone, the Nina Simone film? I'm trying to get that pronunciation down.
Oh, it's really simple. It's O yellow O. So it's O yellow in between, and then O at the end.
Oh, yellow O.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you wanna do it like Stephanie Ray, say Oh yellow O.
Okay.
So, but it's he's made it simple, but yeah, they're getting all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nice movie. It'd be really interesting to revisit and see if the 3D effect is in there. Like he's a hipster because he's a DJ and all this stuff.
The 3D is already there, Mike.
Okay.
And you know how.
Well, he's foreign, but she's not foreign.
Yes, but is she married?
Yes, she's married.
Okay.
Okay, so there's that's the darkening of her?
That's the denigration.
The denigration. Okay. So they're not on an even field when they first meet.
Well, denigration is you're blackening the white character.
Mm-hmm.
Blackening in the sense that you make something immoral about them. Is she a prostitute? No. Is she a cripple? No. But she is someone, morally, she's doing the wrong thing because she's married.
She's committing adultery.
Exactly.
Right.
Did you ever get the chance to see the one I told you to see with Mackie?
No, that's also on Netflix. Shelter?
I think it's Shelter, yes.
Shelter, yeah. It's on Netflix. I haven't had a chance to talk about that, but maybe some of our listeners had a chance. But what's your commentary on Shelter?
You just brought up a term when you discussed this one, Echo Park. You said a bit of magical Negro.
Mm-hmm.
Well, same dynamic with Shelter, as well as the black and white sex. So I find that interesting.
These characters. Well, I appreciate. Is in Shelter does Mackie get to have the layers to his character, or is he just symbolic?
No, there's layers. I enjoyed the film. It's deep, and it was engrossing, but it was an interesting film. But I'd like to see if people watch it, what do they think?
Now we want to talk about two movie trailers that were released this weekend. The first being Birth of a Nation, the Nate Parker John, which won both top prizes at the Sundance Film Festival.
Southern trees, barren, strange fruit.
Heavenly Father, we come to thank you for your word and your will.
Blood on the leaves, and blood at the roots.
You listen to him, and you might just make it into heaven.
Amen.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze.
Submit yourselves to your masters with all respect.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Brethren, I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise in the assembly of the righteous. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let the high praise of God be on the mouths of the saints and a two-edged sword in their hands to execute vengeance on the demonic nations and punishments on those peoples, to bind their kings with chains. Dishonor have all his saints. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Sing to him a new song.
Now, Charles, you had a chance to check this out. What are your initial reactions?
I love the way this teaser is shot, and the music. Oh, the strange fruit.
With Nina Simone.
Oh, Nina and Nina Simone of all people, right? Now, because she's been in the news lately. But the music and the images, the blend. I thought the editing was fantastic.
Yeah, it's very, very strong, powerful images. Nate Parker's obviously playing Nat Turner. One thing that struck me is that he's not making a really strong effort to take on an accent, so to speak.
Well, that gets a lot of actors in trouble, taking on the Southern accent, or sometimes when they try to play Caribbean people, and you hear that.
Show me the truth.
The consistency is not there, and that becomes a distraction. So I'm happy about that. But this looks like it's going to be real powerful stuff. What's in this film, and I'm anxious to see it come out, and I want to see exactly what is the content, how they do this particular part of history, and how it relates to what I discuss in terms of film technology.
Yeah, well, he clearly has a very privileged position in the household, but then he uses his wisdom, his intelligence to bring his people together.
I think, one of the things I've been struck by, and I said this once before, struck by Nate Parker is, here's a young man who appears, from what I see, to be very much into a black consciousness. He seems to be doing his homework regarding the historical black figures, and I think he was motivated to do this piece because there's something he can relate to, what happened in the past and how it relates to what's going on now. But I like what Nate Parker's doing, and he's been a focal character in some very, very well-made black-themed movies. Red Tails, The Great Debaters, and I've been impressed by him.
Yeah, Nate's always been really conscious. Before he did The Birth of a Nation, he did a short film, which is online, that can be found, called American, which was dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement. So, yes, he's always been a super conscious individual.
Okay. Well, I don't want to say too much now until after it comes out, but what term comes to my mind with respect to how I feel. Yes, this is different. They are finally doing a Nat Turner story, but the technology will be discussed later.
Okay, are you getting hints of it in the trailer?
Well, the whole thing is, some of the things they tease us with is very upsetting. There's a scene in there that reminds me of an incident I had in my own experience, where the little black girl has this rope around her neck.
She's leading her like it's a leash, yes.
And she's being pulled by a white girl. Well, that happened to my best friend at the time. We were coming from the park, and through my peripheral vision, I saw a group of white guys. So I headed for the hills, but my best friend, he wasn't as alert as I was. And I stopped in my tracks once I got around the corner and out of, he was out of my view, but I stopped and I ducked behind some cars and I snuck back just to see exactly what was happening to him. And as I got around the corner, these white guys had a rope around his neck.
Well, as if they were going to lynch him.
Yeah, and they told him, NIGGER, don't let us catch you in this neighborhood again.
Yeah, those images carry a lot of power, and
Yeah, the other thing that's very troubling for me to see in this teaser is the appearance that there looks like, maybe Nate Parker's character of Nat Turner, someone he's in love with, one of the slave girls, look like she's about to be raped, and that's upsetting for me.
Yeah, well, definitely. My initial impression, I mean, I can't wait to see the movie, is that it's told from an outsider point of view. Like Nat Turner is not your typical slave. He has a privileged position, and he uses his power, his wisdom. He's like a savior figure, in a sense. So, I mean, but I guess you want to save your dissection of the actual real Nat Turner versus this depiction for later on when there's more information to go on.
Yeah, because pretty much I want to flesh out my circumscribed historicity concept. And two things struck me about this teaser. Nina Simone's Strange Fruit. Mm-hmm. I love her singing of it. And then something I feel is very strong and powerful is this message that blacks have to adapt to a new song. We can't just keep singing the same old song.
I would ask you, like, this year especially, I would say since the release of 12 Years a Slave, we've probably seen more movies about slavery in the last 2 or 3 years than we've have in the previous 10. Why do you think that is?
Well, the reason is because the technology is that there's always this raising of the issue. We need to talk about race. White folk do not want to talk about race because they don't want to be put into a guilt trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if race is a burning issue, I mean, and it is, you can just look at the recent news that's happening in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments made just recently by Hillary Clinton, where she's talking about, white people have to accept the fact that racism is still systemic in America. And the results of the investigation in Chicago is showing that white policemen are racist, and they're conducting their policing in a racial manner. Racism is alive and well in America. I don't call this a post-racial America just because we have a black president. Since we've had a black president, I wouldn't say it's post-racial. It's more postal racial. And getting to the way they deal with it in film, they never contemporize it. One of the few films we had where race was dealt with on a contemporary level was Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened to that. But what they'll do is, if we're going to deal with racism, it has to be the race issue as it was in the past.
Right, yeah. The people that are watching the film are nowhere near as bad as their forefathers, their ancestors. They can feel a certain level of comfort. They can leave the theater saying, well, things are a lot better than it was back in Nat Turner's day or whatever.
Exactly. And America's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Underground yet, but they try to tell the story of the Underground Railroad as an action film. It's sort of contemporary action, camera moves, at a thrilling pace. But I've only seen the pilot episode, but they spend an equal amount of time showing that there was white resistance to slavery as they do showing victorious black people in the show.
Well, that's all part and parcel of the program. See, earlier today, you had a discussion with Malcolm Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which we'll post up later this week.
And listening to him,
go see Barbershop in theaters, not on bootleg.
Yes, but the thing I got from his discussion with you is what he's accomplished. I think that is unique from his cousin Spike. Malcolm Lee has found that ability to blend what I call commercialism with sociology.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that if you can do that, you'll have more success than if you attempt to put a black themed film out there that's going to be in the attack mode, where people feel you're beating them over the head with a message and you're putting them into a guilt trip. And a lot of audiences will be turned off by that, black as well as white.
All right. Well, so October 7th is the date for The Birth of a Nation, which, is is another trick in terms of a play on the title. And, in 2016, almost 100 years to the release of the original Birth of a Nation, you have a movie called Birth of a Nation that talks about a slave rebellion. So maybe things have changed, but I guess we're reserving judgment until the whole film comes out to see, exactly how aggressive Nate Parker was able to make the film in terms of, showing the truth of what that world was about and what Nat Turner was about. So also released this week is the teaser trailer for Almost Christmas, the new movie produced by Will Packer and written and directed by David E. Talbert. And it's got an all-star cast, which includes Kimberly Elise, Omar Epps, Danny Glover, Romany Malco, Nicole Ari Parker, J.B. Smoove, Gabrielle Union, Jesse Usher, DC Young Fly, and this is an exciting thing. It's the first studio film for Monique since her blackballing. So welcome back, Monique.
Yeah, welcome back. But let's see if we can come up with another term besides blackballing.
Okay, well that's what she called it, quote unquote.
Hey, Walter, is the family coming for Christmas?
Every single one of them. Who is this white man?
I figured y'all be hungry from traveling, so I put a little something together for y'all. Milk tea with tapioca balls. Don't put balls in your mouth, baby.
Who wants pizza?
Right here. You ungrateful bastards.
What's with those pink pants, Malibu Barbie?
Uh-oh, somebody got a boyfriend.
I got vibrators older than that child.
We're not gonna make it to Christmas, are we?
Not a damn chance. Give it to me.
This is our first Christmas without your mother. Just 5 days for y'all to act like a family.
You locked me out.
I'm melting, help me.
You seem to be in a bit of a pickle. Let me try to get you out of here.
It's not that kind of party. If you did sit on Santa's lap, I'm sure everyone at home would love to know what you would ask for.
Ask for a suit that fits, because he gonna mess around and get a yeast infection.
Oh, Meg.
And that cream don't work on men, Cheryl.
Well, there's plenty of Monique in this teaser. Like, I mean, it's like they're making her carry the film as the auntie. But, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's two things that came to my mind. First of all, we were just talking about The Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner.
Mm-hmm.
And that film is serious. It's about a particular part of our history that made up too much of our history, as how we were just abused and treated in a very dehumanizing way. And it's serious. And for the most part, films they make about blacks are the types of film like this one is, comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And, looking at this, Best Man comes to my mind. Welcome Home, Roscoe, with, what was that?
It definitely has a Roscoe Jenkins vibe to it.
Yeah, it's almost interchangeable. You see this teaser, and it brings to mind some of the Tyler Perry things, and the one I remember with Regina King. That was a Christmas themed story.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks like more of the same.
My thoughts exactly. Yeah, this. No, I mean, I'm a fan of David E. Talbert. He's done a ton of black theater with a light Christian theme, not as heavy as Tyler, but very entertaining, lots of music and stuff. Now, he's made a couple of feature films to this date. First Sunday with Ice Cube and Cat Williams and Tracy Morgan, which was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. And then the one I didn't really care for was Baggage Claim, which, that probably has more to do with my...
You don't like Paula.
Exactly, yeah, you know that about me. I have she's nice to look at, but the minute she opens her mouth, and no disrespect, Paula, but I think.
Well, I heard so many negative things about Baggage Claim. I guess that's why I didn't dislike it as much as you did.
They were really pushing Paula for a while. Like, they really wanted her to be like the next big thing, and I felt that the best people in Baggage Claim were the supporting characters. Like Jill Scott was terrific in Baggage Claim, but I don't know if she'll ever get a straight up starring role. I mean, she did the one for HBO, Number One Ladies Detective Agency, but
I love that show.
That's a whole nother story. Why they push certain people ahead of other people in terms of who they think is going to be a star for you, So,
well, that's something we'll get into in a not too distant future. But there's so many things that when we talk about how you commercialize blacks, they always feel selling blacks is a problem. So,
this movie has my version of Paula Patton in it as well. I love the cast. I love Kimberly Elise. It's great that she's top billed in this movie, and she's reteaming with Danny Glover, I guess for the first time since Beloved. So that in itself is noteworthy. They're really pushing this Romany Malco, and I interviewed him. I mean, he's a nice guy.
Is he he's the Best Man guy, right?
Yeah, Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man, yeah.
Yeah, they're really pushing him, and JB Smoove seems to be in everything right now.
Oh my goodness! What are they trying to get a plate at the table?
I don't know. I don't want to say anything disrespectful to JB Smoove, but he kind of does the same thing in every movie, and it makes me uncomfortable whenever he comes on screen, because I know it's going to be some over the top, ignorant-ish,
Well, I did an article years and years ago, and once again, I spoke about, who are the blacks that we see? Who do we get? For film and TV, black folk have to be what is considered non-threatening. And so, there's always been this question, did we replace old minstrelsy with what they call neo-minstrelsy? And when you really analyze it, it is a lot of buffoonery and coonery. It's there.
Okay, you said it, not me, but yeah, that's I've had my fill of JB, but I guess he's considered comic relief. Every family's got somebody like a JB Smoove, and I suppose is the belief. But I'm also excited for DC Young Fly, who's a sort of a YouTube celebrity who's done some Wild and Outs and things like that. He's playing the young boy in the movie, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Basically, I mean, he's funny, but he's kind of like this generation's version of Chris Tucker. They're both from Atlanta. They both have a high-pitched, kind of squeaky voice and are kind of tall. So they're going to play this trailer to death in front of Barbershop 3 this weekend. So this is getting people ready for the second quarter. You know, what tends to happen is we'll get a few black movies before the summer, and then we won't see any black movies all summer. And then this one seems and Birth of a Nation will be there after the summer for us. So
you're saying blacks have to get in at a certain time?
That's how Tyler Perry got as big as he was. I mean, if you notice, all of his films when he was doing 2 a year always came out in the slow times of the year and were opened at number one, because it's sort of like what a crack dealer does. There's a drought. We don't get to see a black movie for a while, and then you put one out at the right time of the year, everybody goes.
Yeah.
So I'm mildly interested in seeing Almost Christmas, just for the sake of Monique. I mean, I think she's good. It looks like, I hope she's not in the movie as much as she's in the trailer, because it seems like a really obnoxious character in a way. But she's she's super talented, and it's great to see her back.
It looks like she's playing the type of role they usually give to Jennifer Lewis.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you read my mind, Jennifer Lewis.
Oh.
Almost Christmas doesn't seem like it's going to be anything groundbreaking, but I go to McDonald's a couple times a month, even though I know it's not good for me. This seems like the McDonald's type black movie. So,
well, I just recently said, don't we have a need for a little humor in our lives?
I guess another thing to note is, this is like a family reunion movie. So they're fairly cheap to do. When one of the tricks that Hollywood does lately, if you can build everything around the same location, it cuts down tremendously on your budget. If you center everything around a house.
Yeah, you have this reunion, and how many films have we had? That's why I'm saying this looks like same old. Everyone's coming to one central location, as you said.
Right. Peoples did it. They just kept everybody in the same house on Martha's Vineyard for the weekend, and so they're. I think that it shows Hollywood's still kind of afraid to spend more than a certain dollar amount to make this kind of entertainment. But
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What are the politics of this now? Do you advocate we support this? And in supporting it, what happens? They can demonstrate that it makes money, but the consequence also is on the negative side. If it's not anything on a serious level, a consciousness raising level, wouldn't we get more of the same?
I think these movies are designed, before they even shoot a single video card on this kind of movie, they know from the cast how much money the movie's gonna make. Through a studio. Certainly when they make Meet the Blacks or whatever, the idea there is to do it for so little money that it can't help but make money. So even like it's Meet the Blacks is at $7 million. I'd be surprised if it cost more than $5 million to make that movie. So there's no way to lose money on a comedy with a bunch of black actors, black comedians in it. So before the minute they put the trailer out, the movie already made money. So I'm not necessarily concerned with that. Should audiences reject it? I would say, if it's not offensive to you and your taste, and you want to see attractive, talented black people having fun, then go see it. But do we need more movies like this? I think it's not necessarily challenging anything, but it's not necessarily hurting anything either. So I'm supportive of it. I mean, is this a movie that you go pay full price for? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably see this in a matinee, but I would want to see it with a bunch of people. Bottom line, I don't think Universal wants to be in business with Will Packer. He's got the golden touch. He's done with his collaborations with Kevin Hart. Those movies have all earned close to or over $100 million. So if he brings sort of a lesser project to the table, it's not Kevin Hart, it's not an action film, but it's black themed, it's black related. I think they're going to greenlight something like that automatically. What can you do to challenge Will Packer to put more consciousness into his work? I think in the last Ride Along 2, there might have been one or two lines, but they were kind of thrown in and very random things to like remind you, okay, this is black. This is a black movie. David E. Talbert, I think he's kind of middle of the road, but I've always liked his themes and his plays. I don't know if I've seen it translate to his motion pictures yet. Mm-hmm. The way he has, in theater, the writer is the author. He's the auteur. Mm-hmm. So he has considerably more power and control in his plays than he would directing and writing a feature film for a studio. But it's just mild entertainment. Even his plays, they're not necessarily groundbreaking work, but it's you see a little bit of yourself, you hear some good music, and you leave with a nice message. I think it's harmless until it's not. So I don't see anything that bothered me in particular with this trailer. Nothing bothered me about Baggage Claim. Nothing bothered me about First Sunday. I was kind of entertained by First Sunday on a certain level, but the degree of difficulty, they're not working anything subversive in it the way I feel like the latest Barbershop, they're actually working in some levels of consciousness, and there's a little bit of thought, and they're dealing with serious issues with the Chicago thing, and it's still entertaining at the same time. I don't know if that's even part of Will Packer's agenda to do anything that specific. He's made all of his money off of black audiences, but I don't necessarily think that he's trying to do anything that's challenging or thought-provoking. Not in 10 years of Will Packer Productions, Rainforest Films have I seen that.
Okay.
There's a place for it, generally called the $5.99 bin at Walmart. So you can expect if this does well, they'll do like this is a Christmas one, they'll do a Mother's Day one, and they'll do a New Year's Day, and they'll make it a box set that you can get as a DVD. Well,
would you say it'd be tough to do for black audiences, a Father's Day film?
Oh, shut up. You made me laugh. I didn't mean to laugh, people. People, it'd be like a science fiction film. If fathers come and just show up one day a year. It's like The Purge, it's like one day a year.
What's that old joke?
Black men come back to their homes.
You give a black man a pop test.
What's that?
Who's your father?
Pop quiz. See, now if anybody listened this far into the podcast, please don't say anything wrong or bad about that in the comment section. But, my laughter comes from pain because I never knew my father. So
Same here.
Will Packer Father's Day film would have to be a science fiction, But, all right, we've taken up enough of people's time. But if you want to support black films, go see what's out now, Miles Ahead in theaters, Echo Park on Netflix, and Barbershop 3 in theaters.
Well, I just want to say peace and blessings, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not always in the books or in the film. There's a little silly side to me, but I love everybody, and peace and blessings.